let's start with the champions.
Of course.
Two-time champions. The team that is trying to do what has never been done before, win 3 straight Super Bowls. I mean, think about it. All the great teams we've seen, from the Packers, who got it all started with Super Bowl I and II, from the Dolphins, who were undefeated in 72 and won it again in 73, the Steelers 4 times in 6 years, the 49ers of the 80s, the Patriots, who won 3 out of 4 twice? Yeah. No, 3 out of 4 once. 3 out of 4 once.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
They didn't do 3 out of 4 again.
Right.
They got 3
2
more,
out of
but
3.
not
yeah,
type.
Right. You're right. Right.
Yeah. 2 out of 3, but not 3 out of 3.
Right.
So no one's done it. And now we've got the Chiefs with 2 in a row, and here they go on their quest for number 3. And
not even forget that, Mike. I mean, people going to 3 straight Super Bowls, right? I mean, am I wrong? There's only 2 teams that have ever done that. I mean, let's start there. Right? And the Dolphins that you just mentioned lost in that 71 and then won it in 72, 73, right? So, I mean, even to get back to the game, what they're doing to win 3 out of 4, 2 in a row, get back to 3 in a row, I mean, that in itself would be an accomplishment that I would be amazed by.
And it is amazing they've been to 4 of the last 5.
Right.
They've been to 4 of the last 5. And
right.
But for blowing a 21-3 lead at home against the Bengals, it would be 5 for 5 for the Kansas City Chiefs. So, the road is not easy from the get-go. We knew that as of yesterday. It was on Monday that the kickoff game was announced, Ravens at the Chiefs. Then they have the Bengals coming to town. 2 very difficult opponents to get things started. They hit the road. Week 3, Cousins taking on Patrick Mahomes again. I bet he works Tuesday that week if he's still the starting quarterback then. Patrick Mahomes going to Atlanta for an NBC and Peacock game, Sunday Night Football. And you see the rest of the slate. They get the bye week before the Super Bowl rematch. That's going to be one of the Brady games, I believe, on Fox. A no-brainer. Super Bowl 58 get together again. 2-time Super Bowl opponents, the Chiefs and the 49ers. And maybe they'll get together again this year. Who knows? So there are some very compelling games. We'll see them 4 times. They play Black Friday against the Raiders at home, and we know what the Raiders did to them last year on Christmas Day. They embarrassed them and also lit the fuse that resulted in the Super Bowl win. But you see there, subject to flexing, we will see them 4 times on NBC. We'll see them on Black Friday. We'll see them on Christmas Day on Netflix. That was announced yesterday. They'll be up in Pittsburgh. I may have to drive.
You might have to go to that. Ho, ho, ho. Florio's here.
We may have to alter Christmas Day plans.
Damn.
I don't know how popular
for Patty Mahomes, he's worth it. He's worth it. You know, people, you sat in one of those, foofy, bougie, things last time. You had a suite. You were big time.
Hey, my popularity is usually at a low point by the end of the football season anyway, so what the hell? I may as well go ahead and be all out unpopular and say, enjoy Christmas dinner. I'll be back around 6. Because it's like a 1 o'clock game.
Ah, that's even better.
Day, so
you could do it all.
And you got 2 Monday night games as well. So look at that. 6 primetime games and 2 other standalone games, and it's no surprise because the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Mahomes is Mahomes. We are going to want to see them on TV, especially if that relationship, that other thing that attracted a lot of attention last year, happens to continue beyond its 1-year anniversary and through the 2024 football season.
Hey, the greatest show in the sport, right? I mean, I think that's why we kind of like them, you and I, because they kind of just embrace this like, yeah, we're awesome. Hey, more people jump on. Hey, more cameras, more lights, more parties, whatever, right? I mean, it is kind of cool. It's different from the normal football mantra of just like, we got to go to work, we got to do this, we got to limit distractions. That's why they, they're special. And it's, part of the reason I'm always like, hey, they're going to be back again. This is the first offseason I'm a little bit worried about their schedule in the offseason, seeing Mahomes and Kelsey everywhere, the Harrison Butker thing, all of that. It does seem like there's a few more things going on there in Kansas City. But either way, I know they'll be ready to roll. How do you not, right? Like
nothing's going to wake them up like seeing this schedule.
That's right. Well, these first 2 games will wake them up. And again, to get 2 teams that they're going to be competing with for the number 1 seed, in the AFC, to get them early, right? Get them at home, right? The Chiefs are kind of famous again for you have a bye week, first game of the season, anything like that. They're kind of dangerous. So, they're kind of also famous for Andy Reid of like, hey, his teams are ready to start the year because he still runs an old school training camp. And we've seen that throughout his time, that his teams usually hit the ground running. So, hey, those first 2 games, but I look at the Chiefs' schedule overall, Mike, and I mean, I know it's not perfect and they got the Monday Night Football and all that, but I think it's pretty favorable, really, overall. Those first 2 games, sure, tough. We know they're better than Atlanta. Hey, the Chargers got a new head coach, and we know they're going to be tough, but they're still better than them. We know that right now. Their roster is better, and I feel the same way about the Saints game. So you look at it there and go, hey, if they steal or win one of the at least 2 first games, they got a very easy chance to be sitting there at 4-1. And I think the other thing, I don't like to look deep in the schedule like you and I always talk about, but I don't see.
There's a win. There's a loss. There's a win.
Right.
There's a loss.
I don't see. Again, I don't see a gauntlet of I go, oh my gosh, whoa, that stretch right there, right? There's a few teams that I see a few stretches where I go, wait, even if this team isn't as good as we think it's going to be, it's, on the road, they're still going to have a good defense, you know what I mean? And it's just not going to be easy. And then it's a short week the next week, whatever that is. But either way, what I'm trying to say is I don't look at any stretch of their schedule and go, oh, my gosh, they got to play those 4 games in a row, and they got to go there and here and do that to do it. And I think that's somewhat favorable for the Chiefs.
Well, is it favorable, though? Because you kind of want that to get them focused. If they're prone to any type of distraction or playing with their food, as we say from time to time, if they don't have that gauntlet, they don't hit that extreme, we got to get locked in here 1 week at a time. It's good practice for the playoffs, too.
Yeah.
Now, they've done it year after year. So they know how, I think, to rediscover that well of experience and get to where they need to be. But I almost would like, if I'm Andy Reid, I almost would like to be able to point to a stretch where it's like, we got to be ready for this. Now, that stretch, as we were saying, right out of the gates, great way to get the attention. Great way to get, guys in better shape and guys more focused for off-season workouts and guys more committed to really hit the ground sprinting. Because the last thing you want when you get to week 18 and you see your final record, you don't want a loss from week 1 or 2 to be the reason why you have to go on the road in the playoffs. Because that's the only thing that matters about those early season games. You're always going to be a different team by the end of the year, better or worse. You're rarely the same by the end of the year
that's right.
as you are at the beginning of the year. But if you lose a game that you could have and should have won to one of these teams you're going to be competing with, you get screwed by a tiebreaker. You don't want that if you're the Chiefs. You don't want to have to do it the hard way again. Somehow last year, think about it in hindsight. They get the favorable weather conditions against a Dolphins team that could have maybe given them fits. That game in Germany could have gone either way. You get better weather conditions and maybe the Dolphins get lucky. I don't know. Then they have to go to Buffalo, underdogs, and win. They go to Baltimore, underdogs, and win. It's amazing to think how they pulled that inside straight last year, and then they were underdogs against the 49ers and won again, came from behind again. You kind of like to have a little easier path if you can engineer one.
I hear you there. You're right. They don't seem to be that team. They just don't seem to be it. They like you said, play with their food, lose interest, whatever. They seem to need that, hot poker, kind of hovering around their ass all the time to kind of go, hey, hey, get going. Hey, you can't just, just make it happen because you guys just think you're awesome, whatever. But hey, everybody's going to be gunning for them. We know that, certainly. Right, the AFC West, the dynamics change there. That's a little bit of the unknown with the Chiefs, I think. We don't know. The Chargers, we expect them to be better. Sean Payton year 2, we expect them to be better. But we got to see it, right? Certainly, I think that's part of it. And I do think with the Chiefs that they've hit a different stratosphere. And this is the first time that I'm actually going, they might have to handle this a little bit. They've become bigger than big now. This is the first offseason ever Because I used to have people all the time push back against me and be like, I mean, when they won that first Super Bowl, I was like, they're coming back next year. They're going to embrace this. The pressure's off. They love this. But now they're at a point where it's like, oh, one of the greatest teams of all time. The quarterback, is he the greatest quarterback we've ever seen? And, of course, Kelsey and his superstardom and all that around it. It does seem a little more distracted up there or out there in Kansas City than other years. I will say that, and I do worry about that a tad bit.
Tidbit. I think both would work in that setting.
Yeah.
I think both would work. I'll give you that. To put it as simply as I possibly can.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have become Apollo Creed, and everyone they play is Rocky Balboa. They're shouting out Creed when they're pumping out those waves.
Right.
You are not just measuring stick. You are the Super Bowl. You are a chance to legitimize a team. And even if our season is going to hell in a handbasket, if we beat the Chiefs, maybe we salvage some pride. I mean, look at what it did for the Raiders last year to beat the Chiefs on Christmas Day. Look what it did for Antonio Pierce, who was the interim coach at the time, to go in and embarrass the Chiefs in their own building, shut them down. Shut them down on Christmas Day. Pick 6 of Patrick Mahomes on Christmas Day. Literally the Grinches who stole Christmas. So you think the Raiders aren't going to be ready for them? Black Friday?
Yeah.
Silver and Black Friday? I'm sure they're already calling it that in Las Vegas. And Chris, I'm not giving the Chargers short shrift. We did that rivalries draft a week or so ago.
Yep.
And I put the Chargers and Chiefs on there. And, of course, Ravens and Steelers fans, how dare you not put the Ravens and Steelers on there? I'm trying to project this forward. Yeah, the Chiefs are Jim Harbaugh's new Ohio State.
Yeah.
And he plays them twice.
That's right.
And Jim Harbaugh is going to have the Chargers ready. I don't care about the other 15 games on the schedule. They will be no more ready than they are for Week 4 and Week 14. 10 weeks apart. Week 14, NBC Peacock. Yes, it's subject to flexing. I don't think it's getting flexed because Jim Harbaugh bringing Kansas City to town. That's Ohio State, Michigan, right around the time when they play Ohio State, Michigan, too. So these are, and now, you got the Raiders that want to beat him. You got Sean Payton that wants to beat him. Everybody wants to beat him. Everybody wants to shut him up. Everybody's getting sick of the Chiefs. Now, I'm not, because I love to witness greatness. I love to witness history. I think Patrick Mahomes is awesome. He's never changed. I say that all the time. We did a draft last week of public enemy number 1 on, I think it was Friday, after Reggie Miller heard a profane chant at Madison Square Garden. And Miles Simmons picked Mahomes as a public enemy number 1 because, like, everybody's sick of him. It's like, I'm not either. But I guess they're – But you look around the league, I mean, if that's all you got to hear about, and one of the things that I think when Kevin Clark was with us at the Super Bowl, the idea that, Mahomes is like Jordan of the 80s where there's a bunch of great coaches and players who are never going to get rings. Their careers are going to be wasted because Mahomes is going to keep slamming the door in their face over and over again. It's going to build up a certain amount of resentment and desire to kick their asses.
Yeah,
every team on there, for every team on there, the game they circle when they get their schedule is when they play the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are going to have 17 games of that, where every team they play is going to want them worse than any other team on their schedule.
I'm not exhausted by them. I know that because I do think it's a cool way. It's different than what we've seen, like I tried to explain a little while ago. It's a traveling road show. They love it. They embrace it. That's where I don't. And then Mahomes, we've never really seen anybody ever in the history of the game play this way this long at their start of their career and be this consistently good. But that's the world we're in right now. Listen, if God came down here and started playing good within the second week of the year, everybody would be like, I'm out on God. I don't like him that much. I'm sick of him. I've heard enough of God. That's just the world we're in now. It doesn't really matter.
That can be taken out of context.
Hey, God's been a little too good here. We gotta. I'm sick of God. I'm having fun. Yeah. But I think to your point, you're very much right, and that's to me where I do look at the schedule and go, Week 3, Week 4, Week 5, Falcons, Chargers, Saints. Hey, we know on the roster they're better than them, right? But here's the thing that is, like, to your point, the personal effect. And that's where, hey, the Ravens are coming in, and it's going to be personal. The last time they were on the field was against that team, and that team was talking crap to them and talking crap to them in the pregame, and they feel like the Chiefs got away with personal fouls and all the stuff. Right. All of that. We know the Bengals ain't going to back down, and they're disappointed by their year last year, and they're always talking crap. You said it. Harbaugh is going to make it a – wait, we're in the AFC West. We got to take the Chiefs down. He's going to earmark that. And then the 49ers game after the bye week is going to be personal to them too. It's hit personal time. You lost 2 Super Bowls, right? They played them in the regular season 2 seasons ago in San Francisco, got dominated by the Chiefs then, right? Shanahan is yet to beat Andy Reid as a head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. So that to me is the like, I'm agreeing with you. You're right. There's some personal weight, let alone they're the champs and who they are and all of that. You know, these are teams that got a little history with them that are going to really be trying to, gun them down that way, for lack of a better way to say that. Sorry.
I would bet that Jim Harbaugh has had either on one of the walls of his RV when he was living in the parking lot alone or in his new house in L.A., he's got like you see on a TV show or a movie, there's somebody who's obsessed with someone and they got pictures of them all over the place. And he's probably got a Mahomes or Chiefs wall that he just uses to torment himself. I mean, we know how the guy's wired. He's going to be ready for these games. That's why Chiefs fans do not sleep on the Chargers. They gave you fits a little bit when they were this team that was shiftless and rudderless and just like, okay, they got some great players, but they can't put it all together. They're going to put it all together with Harbaugh. And by the way, the Chiefs will play on every day of the week except Tuesday.
Yeah.
Not relevant to any, strategic realities, but this is the difference between the Texans of a year ago when every game but one is 1 o'clock Sunday and you have a routine. There is no routine. The routine for the Chiefs is be ready for anything, be ready for everything. You're all over the map this year. You are playing every day of the week except one, and who knows? All it takes is some crazy weather event, and a Sunday becomes a Tuesday. We've seen that happen before, so maybe they could go 7 for 7 by the time it's all said and done. But the Chiefs are, and this is the price you pay when you are that great, and they better be ready. When the last Super Bowl ended, as the confetti fell, I got the impression these guys are going to be determined to go 3 for 3. But as you said, I mean, they're human. And you end up on a higher stratosphere, and sometimes you lose sight of all the little things you did to get to where you are. They better get that back. I don't doubt they will. I'm never betting against them.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be easy. And right out of the gates, it's not going to be easy. So we will see them a lot. Good, bad, or otherwise. And that's the thing about the Chiefs. It's not like they show up and win 53-10. Even when they win, they make it exciting. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out. They don't go undefeated. They weren't great last year from a wins and losses standpoint. They had to go on the road for 2 playoff games. So it's fun to watch them. That's the key. That's why they're in so many of these games. It's not just because Taylor Swift might be there. It's because they're fun to watch. Patrick Mahomes is fun to watch, and they're not beating the crap out of everyone. If they beat the crap out of everyone every single week, there would be no fun in watching those games.
No, you're right. I mean, really, they're out of all-time great teams, they might be one of the least dominant all-time great teams, right? I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter. Hey, it's the Jets on Sunday night, whatever. They've had a lot of games where you go, wait, they're kicking their butt. Wait, they're losing now by 2 points. Wait, they still won the game. That is the Chiefs. They're phenomenal, and yeah, I'm with you. They're going to be back in the mix of things as we know. Who you want to hit on next here?
Well, I do want to make one last point. 9 of their final 15 games are on the road. So, and this is a year where AFC teams go on the road overall 9 times. So they get those 2. We talked about this earlier in the week. They burned 2 home games early. And that means you got to jam your 9 road games into what's left. So regardless of where they play, they're the Chiefs. It'll be fun. And as I mentioned, week 7 coming out of their bye, they've got the 49ers in Santa Clara. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.